Hello, welcome to BM6611 Managing Brands. Our topic is choosing brand elements to build brand equity, and this is the second video on this topic. In the first video, we looked at the different brand elements which brand managers use to construct their brand, the name, the logo, the sign, the symbol, etc. And we looked at their characteristics, how they are developed, and what role they play in the creation of brand awareness, the strengthening of brand awareness, and in the creation of brand associations. In this second video, we will look at the criteria for successful brand elements. What characteristics does a brand element need to have in order to be successful in creating awareness and building and supporting brand equity? As always, please make sure that you listen to this video before coming to the scheduled class sessions on this topic, and you can start and stop and start the video as often as you like as you go through it. So what are these criteria for success in brand elements? Well, there are 6 of them. American football is a useful analogy here. And if you know anything about American football, you'll know that it operates using playbooks, the plays, the way in which the ball is going to be moved around the pitch is written down in the form of a playbook. And there are separate playbooks for the team's offensive strategy, how it's going to attack and score goals, and the defensive strategy, how it's going to defend its territory and stop the opposing team from scoring goals. Well, the similar principles apply here. There are 3 offensive criteria that marketers use overtly and actively to build brand equity, to move their brand forward, to strengthen it in its marketplace. And there are 3 criteria or characteristics of brand elements that they need to have to play a sound defensive role in order to protect the brand from the competition, in order to protect the brand's ability to move with the times and to adapt, to move across country borders and market borders. So let's now look at each of these 6 criteria in turn, starting with the 3 offensive criteria for success: memorability, meaningfulness, and likability. So memorability, really it's in the name, isn't it? The brand elements should inherently be memorable. They should stand out, they should be distinctive, and they should lodge in the memory. They should grab our attention. And if they do all of that, then that will facilitate brand recall and brand recognition. So Red Bull is a good example to use here, because I think you'll agree the brand elements certainly are memorable. We can see on the left here the standard Red Bull can. This is not actually the can shape and design that is used in every part of the world, but it is the most commonly used packaging for Red Bull. It's a bit different in China, for example. But the brand elements here are very distinctive. We've got the angular division of colour zones on the can, the crossed lines, the blue and the silver. We've got the red brand name font standing out across the blue and the silver. We've got the 2 bulls right in the middle, the brand characters going head to head. And it all comes together to create a very distinctive, lively, memorable set of brand elements. The slogan, Red Bull gives you wings, it lifts you up because it's all about energy. That's also a memorable slogan. The idea of a Red Bull giving you wings, well, it's a bit odd, really. And so it does lodge and stick in the memory. And you can see how, again, the slogan of gives you wings is turned into a brand element in the advertising on the right, where we've got cans of Red Bull with beautiful white wings flying over the sea. So altogether, a very memorable set of brand elements that really does stick in the minds of consumers. and has contributed to the global success. Red Bull was originally an Austrian brand, but it is now a truly global brand with a dominant market position in a very, very large number of countries around the world, thanks, of course, in part to being a quality product that people like, that delivers the core benefit of energy, but also thanks in part to the memorability and distinctiveness of the brand elements. Let's look now at our second offensive criteria for successful brand elements, meaningfulness. Brand elements can take on all kinds of meaning. It can be simply descriptive. It does what it says on the tin. This is the purpose of the brand. This is the function of the brand. Or it can be more affective, emotional, more persuasive, designed to create a particular image or personality meaning in the mind of the consumers. When we think about meaningfulness, first of all, it is important that the brand elements sometimes need to convey general information about the nature of the product category. So bleach is a good example here. Bleach is dangerous stuff. You don't want to misuse it. You certainly wouldn't want to splash it on your skin or get it in your eyes or drink it. It's highly toxic and can be fatal. And so bleach makes that general information available to us by using images on the packaging and using a particular kind of packaging that is only used for these sorts of product, and having the word bleach over and above the brand name coming out very, very strongly, and information about its use clearly printed on the packaging, hard to open bottle tops, etc., to minimize the risk of misuse. So there's a lot of general information about bleach, what it's for, putting down the sink, putting down the toilet, putting down the drains. That comes across in the packaging. Also, meaningfulness can apply where we want to provide through the brand elements not just general information about the nature of the product category that the brand is in, but specific information about our particular brand and its attributes and its benefits. So an example here would be a product called I Can't Believe It's Not Butter. Now that's a really funny brand name, isn't it? It's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 words. It's quite long. It's a phrase. It's almost a sentence. The brand name, the brand elements, the colours that are used, the golden blobs on the packaging, which look like little bits of butter, are all designed to tell you that this product is very much like butter. It's not, it's actually margarine, but it's so tasty, it's so rich, it's so golden, it might as well be butter. And when people taste it, they simply can't believe it's not actually butter. So the benefit is you're getting a buttery taste, but with a lot less saturated fat. And that comes across quite strongly in the brand elements that are used. So the first of these dimensions, providing information about the nature of the product category, that is critically important in determining salience. What are you? Remember back to Keller's customer-based brand equity pyramid. The foundation layer is brand salience. What are you? What sort of product are you? Which market are you in? And the second point above, where meaningfulness relates to providing specific information, not about the product category, but about our particular brand. That is important in establishing the brand image and the brand positioning. So with I Can't Believe It's Not Butter, this is not just any old margarine. This is a very special margarine that tastes like butter. It is so close to butter in its taste that people generally, when they taste it, can't believe it's not butter. Here is a product that doesn't actually exist anymore. Pepsi Raw was a short-lived product. It was only on the market for a few years, but I'm using it as an example because you can clearly see here that the bottle shape has been chosen with a nod really to Coca-Cola. This bottle shape means cola. Now, the dominant brand name element here is the word raw, which relates to the use of raw unprocessed sugar in the product. So it was designed to be a more natural cola drink using natural sugars, but wasn't actually very successful with customers. But the point here really that it relates to the meaningfulness that we get from the bottle shape. So if we didn't have the Pepsi name, the Pepsi logo at the top, the two hemispheres with the wavy line joining them, if the word raw disappeared, if all we had was the bottle with the brown liquid, or even maybe even without the brown liquid, meaningfulness would come across that this is packaging for a cola product. Now, it's not exactly the same as the Coca-Cola bottle, because that Coca-Cola bottle shape is trademarked. So Pepsi couldn't copy it exactly, but they could come very, very close. And so create the meaningfulness of this being a part of the cola product category, a strong contender in the cola product category. Let's look now at the third of our offensive criteria for successful brand elements, likability. Now, I've chosen here with the use of Innocent and M&M's brands that play very, very strongly on likability, that really are trying to create a strong emotional connection with the consumer through the use of childlike, funny, colourful brand characters. And so this is likability at the extreme. But all brands need to be liked by their customers. They need to put across an image of likability. In other words, they want to create a positive response. They want people to approach the brand. And this is true for business to business brands just as much as business to consumer brands. We don't have to be dealing with chocolates and smoothies and so on for likability to be relevant. All brands want to engender a positive, approach-oriented response from their customers. They don't want to put people off. They don't want to turn people away. And so really brand elements should be aesthetically appealing. They don't need to be colourful and fun like the examples here, but they should be attractive. They should not be discordant. They should not be ugly. And if brand elements are aesthetically pleasing, then we draw the consumer in, and therefore we make the other elements of operational marketing, such as marketing communications, job a bit easier. We reduce the burden on marketing communications to build awareness, because the brand elements themselves build awareness, build a rapport, persuade people, communicate information. So likability is critically important. So we've looked at the three offensive criteria, and now let's move on to our defensive playbook for brand elements. Starting with transferability. This is sometimes referred to in the literature as extendability. And what we really mean here is how the brand elements allow or don't allow the brand to be expanded and extended across its existing product line, into new product categories, into new countries, etc. So if the brand elements are very rigid and fixed and narrow, then there won't be much scope for transferability. Remember in the last video, we looked at the example of United Aircraft, who changed their brand name because it conferred no transferability. Having the word aircraft in your brand name made it very difficult for the company to position itself as the provider of engineering solutions to any other market sector. And so they changed their name from United Aircraft to United Technologies. And suddenly many transfer possibilities became open to them. So transferability really is about the extent to which a brand element allows for brand equity across different geographical boundaries, different market segments, different product categories. So we've got our three examples at the bottom here. We've got I can't believe it's not butter again. How extendable or transferable are the brand elements here? Well, at face value, not very, because we've got butter appearing in the brand name. We've got butter shapes being shown all over the packaging. But if you think about it, you could actually modify these brand elements slightly and just keep the I can't believe it's not, and take that as a low-fat alternative into other product categories like yogurt or cream or ice cream to provide a lower-fat, healthier alternative. You might need to change the brand colours a bit and the graphical shapes shown, but the formulation of the brand name, I can't believe it's not, is potentially highly transferable and highly extendable. In the middle, we've got the eCover brand, which is a range of environmentally friendly, green, home cleaning products like dishwasher tablets, laundry detergent, washing up liquid, etc. So how transferable is this across country boundaries, for example? Well, you can see here that some of the packaging, some of the words on the packaging are written in French. So already we can see that this is a multi-country brand. eCover, fairly straightforward word, fairly easy to pronounce, not going to present linguistic problems in different languages. So geographically, yep, that ticks the box, it is geographically transferable. Whereas our I can't believe it's not butter really has problems with geographic transference. Too many words to translate. All sorts of meaning differences that may occur. You might not be able to convey the same meaning in different languages. It's unwieldy. Let's go back to eCover. Does this brand name allow for transferability across different product categories? Well, yes, it does, because getting ecological coverage, ecological support, getting nature on your side is relevant in a whole range of household product areas. Dish cleaning, laundry detergent, home cleaning products for cleaning surfaces, etc. And potentially could be extended even further than that out into gardening products, car care products with an ecological or green formulation. So lots of possibilities there to extend the brand into different markets, into different countries. The final example here is a brand called Frigidaire. It's an American brand from the USA, and it originally was a brand of refrigerators. Frigidaire, it's not maybe so easy to pronounce, but actually this brand has been transferred into many different countries around the world and hasn't been translated at all. It is Frigidaire wherever it appears. Frigid air, cold air. So the brand also has been very successfully transferred, extended into air conditioning, all about cooling air. So it is very important to look at the extent to which brand elements allow you to future-proof a brand and don't constrain it too much into one part of the world, into one language, into one marketplace. And we can see here that you need to really decompose the brand elements to evaluate the transferability and to look at any particular problems of transferability that might arise. Next, we look at adaptability. And this really is all about how the brand elements can be refreshed, updated, altered over time. So the more adaptable and flexible the brand element is, the easier it is to update it and to change it. Why would you want to change it? Well, because the market is not static. The example here is talking about consumer values and opinions, but this is also relevant in business-to-business marketing. Business-to-business marketing is made up of individual people as well, whose values and opinions change over time. So if we don't find it very easy to update, to change, to adapt our brand elements, they are likely to become out of date. They're likely to lose favour with consumers, with business-to-business buyers, as the social and cultural market changes, the environment changes, values change, etc. However, if we can give our brand elements a new look, a new design, update the logo, change colours, change font, modify our brand characters, alter our packaging, we can keep up to date, we can keep pace with the competition, with the marketing environment. We can ensure that the brand elements are always relevant, fresh, modern and appropriate. So you can see some examples here at the bottom of the slide, starting on the left with water in a can. Water hasn't normally been sold in a can. In fact, most mineral water is still sold in bottles. What's wrong with bottles? Well, plastic bottles are becoming unpopular because they're not environmentally friendly. Single-use plastic is highly problematic, often ends up in landfill. We are drowning in plastic all over the world. Many people don't bother to recycle it. And even if you do recycle plastic, that uses resources. So we should really be trying to eliminate plastic from packaging wherever possible. Okay, so we could sell mineral water in glass bottles. They're heavy to transport, which adds to the cost. They break. And so now we find water sold in cans. Cans can be recycled. They can be made from recycled materials. They are easier to recycle, they're light, they're tamper-proof, and so this is considered to be a more environmentally friendly way of packaging mineral water than a glass or a plastic bottle. So packaging change to keep up to date with changing values and opinions about the importance of recycling in packaging. In the middle, we've got the Google logo. Now you can see how it has subtly morphed between 1998 and 2015. The colours have stayed the same for each letter. The use of individual colours, apart from the two reds and the two blues, the single yellow and the single green, the use of the colour coding for each letter has stayed consistent. Obviously, the letters themselves have stayed consistent. The name hasn't changed. It's still Google with a capital G. But look at how the font has changed. And look at what image that creates, whether it is a three-dimensional, chunky font. The most extreme example there would be the second one down, used between October 98 and May 99. And even that's got a 3D exclamation mark. The use of dropped shadowing in the third one down, and then the removal of shadowing and the move to a more flat 2D image. What does that signify? Why has Google made these changes? That's something that you might like to consider and think about. And then we've got the Coca-Cola bottle going all the way from 1899 The first example on the left of the Coca-Cola picture quite clearly shows the brand's origins in medicine, in pharmacy, having originally been designed as a tonic. And it looks like something that you would find on the shelves of a Victorian pharmacy, that sort of glass flagon with the stopper top. It signifies medicine. And then the introduction of the curvy bottle in 1915, which is certainly a lot more curvy than the current bottle shape and the various manifestations that it has gone through. So where packaging can be adapted, that helps a brand to stay relevant, fresh and modern. Where the brand element cannot be adapted, there's potential problems that it will become out of date and inappropriate. So just thinking about adaptation for a few more minutes, let's look at some brand elements and how they might have changed. I'd like you to spot the difference and then bring your notes on each of these differences to our class session. So let's start with Michelin on the left. What is different between the Michelin logo on the left and the Michelin logo on the right? Note down your differences and bring them to class. Then we've got the Little Chef logo on the right hand side. And again, what has changed between the Little Chef on the left and the Little Chef on the right? Johnnie Walker whiskey, now at the bottom left of our screen. What's the difference between the Johnnie Walker logo or brand character on the left and the one on the right? And why do you think that difference has been introduced? And lastly, we have Coppertone sun protection lotion. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different Coppertone logos here. What are the differences between the 4 and why have these differences been introduced? And these are in date order. So moving from top left to bottom right, they are becoming more recent. So spot the differences, note them down, and bring your list of differences to class to discuss with your fellow students and with the tutor. Now we move on to protectability, one of our defensive characteristics or criteria for brand elements. If we can protect brand elements in law, then nobody can copy them. And that again gives competitive advantage. If we are the only people who can use a particular name or shape or type of packaging or font or logo, then that is extremely powerful in cementing our position, in building our brand equity, and most importantly, in protecting our brand equity from competitors who might seek to copy us. So this means that you have to think very carefully about the brand elements that you choose, and you should choose elements wherever possible that can be legally protected internationally. And this is where marketers need to rely on colleagues in the legal department to evaluate this and to look at the legal regulations that exist around trademarking of names, packaging shapes, logos, brand characters, etc. Brand elements should be formally registered with the appropriate legal bodies around the world in not only the countries that the brand trades in today, but countries that the brand may seek to trade in the future. So again, it's about thinking ahead and future-proofing. Where might we be expanding to in the next 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? And to get ahead and to formally register your brand name, logo, etc. with the appropriate legal bodies. And thirdly, marketeers and their legal colleagues, their legal support teams, should vigorously defend the brand elements from unauthorized competitive infringement. Now, there are some examples at the bottom of the screen here. The first is the Christian Louboutin red sole on the very expensive designer shoes that are made under the Christian Louboutin brand name, Italian shoes. The second example, 2685C, that is a Pantone colour code number. If you've ever studied art or design, you will have come across the Pantone system, which is a globally recognized system for classifying and identifying color tones. Every shade of every particular color has a unique numerical identifier that distinguishes and identifies that particular color of pink or red or blue, or in this case purple. So why am I showing you a picture of Pantone shade 2685C? Well, that's because a number of different brands over the years have laid claim to that being their special colour and have tried to get legal protection to stop other brands using that particular colour. Thirdly, we've got Kit Kat, the wafer inside, chocolate on the outside, 4-finger chocolate confectionery countline bar product. Why are we showing this? Well, because of its very distinctive product shape, those 4 fingers that are melded and joined together at the bottom by the chocolate, but which are easily snapped apart. And fourthly, we've got a cola bottle. Case studies explaining the legal ramifications, the legal disputes surrounding the Christian Louboutin red sole, the Pantone shade of purple, the 4-finger Kit Kat bar shape, and the curvy cola bottle can be found on this session's Canvas page. There are hyperlinks to case studies on all of these that explain who went to court, who was fighting whom, and what the outcome was, whether it was possible to protect and to trademark these various brand elements in law. So please dip into these case studies, at least 1 or 2 of them, before you come to class, and be ready to discuss the extent to which these special brand elements could or could not be protected in law. So that concludes our journey through brand elements. Video 1 looked at the characteristics of each brand element, and this video 2 has looked at the 6 all-important criteria for brand element success, the 3 offensive criteria and the 3 defensive criteria. And you might like to apply these 6 criteria to a brand of your choice and come to class ready to present your thoughts and your findings to fellow students. You want to analyse the brand elements in terms of these 6 criteria and really see how you think that brand stacks up on memorability, likability, extendability, protectability, etc. So thinking ahead to our next topic, your compulsory reading for next week is another Keller paper, 2003, Brand Synthesis, the Multi-Dimensionality of Brand Knowledge. And that was published in the Journal of Consumer Research. So we are going back to look at brand knowledge in a bit more depth and detail. And our topic for our next session is secondary brand associations. Very interesting, very exciting topic, very exciting way by which a brand can build its associations, not just by things that it does itself through its brand elements, but by tapping into external entities like celebrities, sporting events, countries, maybe its own employees. So we will come together again next time to look at secondary brand associations. But that's all on the topic of brand elements. So from brand elements, goodbye.